So congratulations for this tour de force. I understand it's coming out on HBO on May
19th of May. Yes.
19th
of May
okay.
on HBO Max, and it's gonna be a 2-episode drop. So if you like the first one, you might want to stick around for the second one.
I mean, great cliffhanger. I mean, for sure, the first 2 episodes are gonna be a big treat. And how many episodes are there in total?
6.
Okay, cool. So you are fresh off a success at the Berlinale, where I understand this series was the first time that the Eastern European series has been rewarded. Okay, wonderful. It's relatively new, this series sort of showcase competition at the Berlinale, right?
Yeah, so it's they've actually had the selection for series for quite a while, but they haven't actually introduced an award for it. So it's the first time that it's a proper nomination with 6, I think 6, yeah, it was 6 candidates.
Okay. I'm going to ask some questions, but this is mainly for you. So if anybody has any questions, I guess raise your hand or stand up and holler. I think the room is small enough to hear you. So I want... Vă întreb pe dumneavoastră mai întâi, sau te întreb pe tine. Cât a fost de greu să intri în personajul Elena Ceaușescu? A fost greu?
Eu, prima dată când am primit un mail de la domnica Cârciumaru, căreia îi mulțumesc încă o dată, pentru că ea are mare încredere în mine, mi-a spus că va fi o serie de spionaj contra spionaj. Normal, sunt 3 proiecte în această țară minunată pe an. Primești orice, vine pe mail, orice propunere de casting, zici da, fără să întrebi, să pui prea multe întrebări. Și mi-a zis, trebuie să semnez confidențialitatea citirii primului episod. Da, sigur că da. Și dar ce personaj urmăresc, domnica? Spune-mi ce trebuie să citesc. Și mi-a scris Elena Ceaușescu. Nici nu am citit și am mers mai departe pentru că noi glumim mult una cu cealaltă și am fost convinsă că este o glumă. Și acum am niște fiori stranii pe și raspinării. Nici nu am avut niciun gând în acest sens că poate fi vreo fărâmă de adevăr. Am lăsat-o un pic să-și revină și am mai scris. Deci, ce personaj urmăresc? Elena Ceaușescu. Și a început o demență pentru că m-am panicat foarte tare. Îmi răsunau în urechi cuvintele profesorului meu, Mircea Bulescu, care ne spunea, țin minte, când am făcut Shakespeare, îi spunea unui coleg care urma să încerce să îl cunoască pe Iago, că atunci când ai un personaj negativ, trebuie să găsești ceva frumos, habar n-am, și lui îi place să miroasă o floare, are ceva uman, ceva frumos în el, ca să poată merge publicul cu tine. Și îmi răsunau aceste cuvinte în urechi și m-am gândit cum Dumnezeu, din toate personajele hâde din lumea asta și controversate și... eu deci nu am înțeles de ce am fost lovită cu acest personaj. O parte din prietenele mele actrițe, puține, mi-au înțeles zbaterea și panica. Multe au zis că nu cred, este o nesimțire fără margini, bucură-te, e o provocare. Dar știam că, speram de fapt, că vom face un research, că vom face o căutare, cum am văzut eu că se face la Cațele Mari, și că vom dezbate, vom discuta, vom avea un laborator, o bucătărie, așa, în care noi vom discuta despre aceste personaje datate, punct. Nu este... și dacă se numeau Elena și Nicolae Popescu, toată lumea știa că este vorba despre acești doi, Elena și Nicolae Ceaușescu, despre care știe și ultimul amărât din Africa, că au fost niște dictatori în România. Și mie mi-a fost foarte, foarte greu. Și a început o nebunie, un research personal, pentru că am vorbit cu Tudor Reu, căruia îi mulțumesc pe această cale, și întregii echipe celor de care ne-au susținut și care au organizat filmările pentru România, pentru că cel puțin mie mi-au fost foarte aproape. Și am vorbit cu Tudor și Tudor mi-a zis: nu vreau să te întristezi, dar nu spera la repetiții cu regizorul, pentru că încep filmările direct la Budapesta și nu aveți aceste repetiții. Și atunci am început să mă documentez. Mi-am dat seama că știam că, mă rog, am luat-o, recunosc, pentru prima dată în viața mea, un pic din exterior. Am urmărit-o cum aplauda, mi-am urmărit poziția corpului. Știm cu toții că era o persoană fără lecturi, fără lumină, fără gând. Și atunci, în ciuda multelor diplome pe care le acumulase într-o viață universitară și de cercetare, și atunci am luat-o, recunosc că am încercat am studiat-o fizic, pentru că știam, de exemplu, că a avut dinții galbeni scurți și că atunci când râdeai se vedeau gingile. Asta n-ai cum să joci. N-ai ce să faci cu informația asta. Și era splendidă. Și mie mi-a fost foarte greu, am fost convinsă că nu o să reușesc. Am avut șansa întâlnirii cu Chris, cu Ioanina, cu care am stat de vorbă, aflându-ne pe set la filmare. Și cu Ioanina am avut așa câteva idei, n-am fost niciodată sigură de ce fac, de ce am pornit din exterior, m-am gândit cum merge un om, pentru că un om inteligent stă într-un fel, trupul e cumva în concordanță cu gândul, cu mintea, cu așa. Ea era destul de șleampătă. Am încercat să las burta.
Nu, șleampătă, impossible to translate.
A fost o bucurie pentru mine, pentru că a fost între puținele personaje pe care le-am jucat, în care am putut să-mi las liber corpul. Nu m-am mai gândit că se vede burta, că se lasă, că se vede bucea. N-am mai avut niciun gând. Puteam să fiu cât de hâdă voiam. Asta era și scopul. Și am stat de vorbă. Chris, regizorul, ne-a spus la prima întâlnire, mă rog, la a doua etapă a castingului, când m-am văzut cu Claudiu, ne-a spus că el caută o tipologie anume și că nu e neapărat Elena Ceaușescu, este Lady Macbeth, și eu îi spuneam aproape cu lacrimi în ochi: măi, omule, o cheamă Elena Ceaușescu, n-ai cum, deci ea este, nu poate să fie altcineva. El ne-a investit pe noi cu foarte multă încredere. După aceea, la filmări, m-am gândit să apară aceste ticuri verbale cu pă mine, dă mine, oltenismele astea, să le inserez din când în când. N-am vrut să marșez foarte tare, pentru că ei se scriau discursurile, cel puțin informațiile pe care le avem noi, că acum eu nu știu cum se prezenta ea la micul dejun. Am văzut multe imagini cu ea în care stătea îmbrățișată cu copiii ei. Sigur, era și ea mamă, a avut și ea momente de tandrețe cu copiii, dar la care eu nu am avut acces, noi nu am avut acces. Noi am văzut ceva urât, instigator, manipulator, neinstruit și urât, un pachet urât. Și pentru care m-am sfătuit cu Ioanina la cadru și îi ceream acordul și o rugam să fie atentă, Chris, nefiind vorbitor de limba română. Și asta este o piedică în calea fericirii, în calea întâlnirii cu personajul, pentru că spre el mergea o energie, el era încântat, dar eu aveam nevoie să știu dacă pun corect accentul, mă rog. Și atunci mă bazam foarte tare pe Ioanina și ei îi propuneam lucrurile astea verbale, mă rog, cât puteam, și ne-am gândit dacă am folosit, cred că o singură dată, nu mai știu în ce episod, n-am vrut să marșez foarte tare pe asta, un dezacord. N-am vrut, pentru că ea era trasă de mânecă și, mă rog, în intimitate nu știm cum era ea cu Ceaușescu, dar n-am vrut să marșez foarte tare pe asta. Am căutat să o construiesc, repet, din exterior și mi-a fost foarte greu. Recunosc. Și în continuare e o povară, e prima dată când îl văd. Nu am văzut un trailer, ne-a arătat Chris un prim trailer la Budapesta. Eu nu mă uit la ce fac, dar n-am putut, pentru că era prima mea întâlnire cu Chris și nu puteam să zic: prietene, eu nu mă uit la mine, că a fost așa un grup și am văzut și eu. Mi s-a părut foarte frumos cum arăta, cum era filmat totul și mă tot întreba: ți-a plăcut? Ce zici? Ce părere ai? Ce era o energie specială, Chris. E minunat și minunat la lucru și cu un mare respect pentru actor și cu admirație și cu o relație foarte faină pe care a construit-o cu noi, așa de încredere. Și mi-a plăcut foarte tare ce am văzut, dar trebuie să vezi întregul, mă rog, ca să-ți dai seama cu adevărat ce ai reușit să construiești într-un astfel de personaj. Gata.
să continui, Adina, pot să spun, Adina?
Da, sigur.
Voiam să te știu că scenariul...
Deci vorbim în română?
Deocamdată, da. Jonathan needs to learn Romanian. He told me beforehand, like, I'm trying to learn Romanian, speak Romanian to me. Don't protect me.
You can understand.
Deci, știu că scenariul a câștigat inițial la unul dintre concursurile, scrieți un scenariu pentru, deci unul din concursurile organizate de American International Independent Film Festival.
Cinemascop. Și Asociația Cinemascop.
Asociația Cinemascop, care organizează și festivalul. Exact, da, mulțumesc. Și voiam să te întreb cum... În primul rând, eram curioasă personal dacă a avut structura asta cu flashback-uri de la bun început și apoi vreau să te întreb cum a fost generat acest proiect. O întrebare destul de predictibilă, dar cum ați făcut research-ul? Unde v-ați documentat pentru... Astea sunt lucruri pe care nici noi nu le știam, care am trăit în timpul respectiv.
Da, ca să nu uit, doar aș vrea să încep prin a mulțumi tuturor celor care au făcut acest proiect posibil, tuturor actorilor, producătorilor, HBO, o listă lungă de oameni, doi sunt aici în sală, le mulțumesc personal pentru că au fost acolo de câte ori aveam dileme și mai sunam pe cineva care aveam nevoie de o voce independentă pe elementele care țin de partea istorică. Da, această idee s-a născut, eu sunt pasionată de filmele de spionaj în general și mi-am dorit foarte mult și am fost fascinată de Parcepa așa, că este inspirat din viața lui, din povestea lui și totdeauna mă gândeam, da, unde să scriu, unde să faci, unde să... Și a venit concursul Cinemascop pe această cale, bineînțeles că un big thank you Asociației lui Cristian Mungiu și tuturor celor care organizează și mă bucur să văd că acest concurs merge mai departe. Și pur și simplu am avut așa un moment, toată lumea cred că l-a avut, eram în bucătărie și am zis, this is it, asta e, acum, asta e ideea. Și am făcut un outline, m-am dus la Berlin în anul acela înainte de pandemie și am vorbit cu Kirsten, pe care o știam de ceva ani, că am fost împreună la Scriptist, într-un program de scris scenarii și ne împrieteniserăm și așa și m-am dus și am spus, uite, I have an idea, fii atentă. Și a plăcut. Și am zis, da, e un concurs, trebuie să aplicăm. Am scris outline-ul și da, de la început era cu aceste flashback-uri, pentru că conceptul, viața lui Parcepa e mare în general și are foarte multe lucruri interesante și care în sine pot face un film separat. Dar cel puțin ideea a fost de la început a mea să plecăm de la acest moment când el fuge, de la fuga lui. Și apoi să vedem cum a ajuns aici, ce l-a determinat, ce s-a întâmplat. Și ăsta a fost conceptul, cu aceste flashback-uri, am scris outline-uri, au urmat 4 luni cu back and forth, cu dialogul, începuse pandemia cu Ioanina, cu cei care erau în cadrul asociației. Proiectul a fost desemnat câștigător și apoi, bineînțeles că am continuat, HBO, they loved it, așa, și am continuat scrierea scenariului. Ca documentare, să răspund la întrebarea dumneavoastră, m-am dus la CNSAS și am stat acolo o perioadă și am tot citit dosare și m-am tot uitat la detalii. Sigur că anumite lucruri sunt respectate în film din punct de vedere istoric, altele nu. Da? De exemplu, sunt detalii, am fost întrebată de ce îi spune pe nume, pentru că e o chestie mai rară și, de fapt, în viața reală nimeni nu îi spunea Nicolae. Am forțat această realitate istorică și am spart această regulă, tocmai pentru a înțelege cât de apropiat era el, de fapt, de familia Ceaușescu și că trădarea lui trecea puțin granița aceea profesională și era o chestie atât cât putea, totuși Ceaușescu avea și el oamenii lui, la un drink, la un ceva, am citit la un moment dat într-unul din dosarele CNSAS că de vreo 2 ori toată lumea a rămas cu gura căscată că la nu știu ce, după nu știu ce vânătoare Parcepa ar fi spus lui, personajul i-a spus lui pe nume. Și atunci am zis ok, deci îți dau mici momente când această graniță era trecută. Și da, a fost foarte mult research și apoi au urmat într-adevăr discuțiile cu producătorii, la ce renunțăm, la ce nu renunțăm, ce sacrificăm, pentru că da, nu ne-a interesat să păstrăm adevărul istoric și nici chiar anumite adevăruri despre perioada respectivă. Da? Știm că, de fapt, Camp David s-a întâmplat în septembrie, el a fugit în iulie, era irelevant. Noi le-am adus aproape ca evenimente pentru că ne-au servit poveștii. Și atunci am ales din tot ceea ce ne-a servit și cea mai mare luptă a noastră, dacă am avut și noi demența noastră, a fost cu aceste flashback-uri și cu aceste layere pe care am încercat să le construim într-un mod coerent, evident, să creăm și suspans în același timp și să fie și clar, dar nu foarte clar. Și aici a fost un challenge, o provocare.
So now I'm going to segue into the other side. And I want to hear from the producers what attracted you to this project, and how was it difficult to sell it to HBO? Was it difficult to get it made? I want to hear everything.
Yeah, so I was basically in charge with selecting the series contenders for write a screenplay for that time, and so I loved it. The first, the outline that you wrote in your kitchen was the winning outline. We had a period of, we were doing it like we were workshopping it across summer, and we did that over Zoom because we were all stuck at home. We did that, and at the end of the summer, in autumn, when we were at the Film Bucare, we announced the winner, and that was this script. So I loved it the first outing because it was so obvious that it was, it sat at the border between, Tinker Tailor and James Bond. It's something that feels authentically Romanian, but also something that you can, sell as a mainstream kind of thing. You can sell it to your superiors, in my case, my bosses, and my boss to his bosses, etc. Because that's a whole thing, the green light commission. So I could see from the word go that it was very, very easy to sell to people who know just generally that Ceausescu existed, because that's the people, the Westerners have pretty much they have some idea, but not at all. Yeah. So you can go on and say about Western.
I can talk about Western. It wasn't an obvious sell in many ways, because we weren't. This wasn't the brief. This isn't what we were looking for. We were looking historically, what we've always done is Romanian shows for Romania in Romanian. But the script was so good that I thought that, people will like it. And the acid test for us with this was our German co-producers, to be honest. When the Germans read it and went, we really like this script, that made me think, yeah, okay, this can travel. So Adina bought the great Romanian authenticity, and Kirsten had this sort of American-German sensibility, so it was sort of the perfect pairing for this show. And then my UK colleagues read the script and they loved it as well. So we had support for the script, but the budget was a problem. So we managed to put the budget together with the Hungarian rebate, the money that I would normally have from Romania, some money from Germany, and we managed to get some money from our American colleagues as well. So we were very lucky with our timing because we had a new team commissioning and they were wanting to take risks. So, and this for us is a risk. We've never done a multi-language show like this before. Well, let's see. Let's hope it works. But I think what Ionina said is true. It's got all the quality of a great John le Carré story, but you've never seen it from this side of the wall before.
Ce compliment, John le Carré și Adina Sedeanu.
And Kirsten Peters.
Yes, and Kirsten Peters. I love how broadcasters and other television producers always say, we don't want period, and then they stumble onto these great scripts and we have to do a period. We have any
That's
questions?
very true. They said, promise me it won't be grey.
Yes.
That was one of the things. We said we don't want period, we don't want grim, or brown. Yeah, brown. We have
massive no.
So yeah, you're absolutely right. But broadcasters always tell you what they want, and then they always commission something else. That's how it is.
Don't listen to them.
If I can just add one more thing, I personally am glad to hear, that they thought about it in this way, because I'm a big believer in stories with the local angle, but that carry a universal story. This has it, at its core, it's the family. He leaves his daughter behind, so that's big. Yeah, it's a whole world there that we tried to create and brought this human side to this spy story. That was what we really cared about.
And it was actually one of the reasons why we went for a UK director, because he didn't, in a way, it's a good thing to have the history, but there's some baggage attached to that. The director didn't have any of the baggage of being German, American, or Romanian. So his focus was, do I get this story? So that's absolutely the thing with family. He tapped into the universal emotion.
În moment ce a fost o producție practic în două țări și a fost un singur regizor. De obicei la filme te duci într-o țară, filmezi, te duci în altă țară, filmezi și partea aceea. Dar am văzut că au fost doi directori de fotografie, doi orice practic. Au fost două echipe, una ungurească și una română. Și sunt curios, a fost cumva regizorul ca un manager, ca să zic așa, pe toată producția și au fost mai mici echipe pe care le-a supervizat, dar ele s-au ocupat individual de episod sau a fost pur și simplu ne mutăm astăzi în România, filmăm, ne mutăm astăzi în Ungaria, filmăm ce trebuie?
Da, deci Christopher Smith a regizat toate cele 6 episoade. Ceea ce e foarte rar în lumea TV-ului. În general, regizorii vin pentru un bloc, 3 episoade, 2 episoade, etc. Și sunt mai mulți regizori. De data asta am ales un singur regizor pentru că a dat o coerență, într-adevăr. Am avut inițial... we initially wanted... we had one director, one DOP, a Brit, Ben Wheeler, and then he gave the lighting and the theme and the tone of the thing. And then after that, he passed the torch over to Adam Filens, who's an excellent DOP in Hungary. We had also 2 editors, but the tone was given by Stuart Gazard. He was the 3 Brits in our midst gave the broad strokes of it, and then they were supported by Hungarians. And the second editor that we had was a Hungarian who also spoke Romanian. So that was that was a big help for him, because obviously Stuart had worked on The Crown, but he for all his wonderful traits he spoke no Romanian. So he had Reika to help him out. So that was pretty much how we went along.
We had a hard out on the actors, so we knew we had to finish on the 30th of September, and we weren't quite as quick as we thought we were going to be. We ended up with 20 second unit days. We had a great second unit director, but because of COVID, we ended up with 5 different DOPs with the second unit. So what you're seeing is a complete mishmash of different DOPs' work, but brought together with a very strong concept. I mean, there was a really strong mood board, there were really strong references, everyone watched the dailies and understood the concept. But it's a limited series, so we always knew that it had an ending, so it's not a series that's going to return and return. And when you have a series that you want to return, it's quite helpful to have multiple directors, because one director physically can't do the whole thing. But in this case, one director more or less could, except for the 20-second unit days.
You pulled out something hard and then Cloud Atlas. You pulled out something hard and then Cloud Atlas.
I question the costumers were Romanian or Hungarian?
It was Sosha. She's a Hungarian designer.
Because I noticed that he wears only one costume and he has no back when he goes to Germany. So he has only one briefcase.
Yes, he has the suitcase in his hotel, and then his briefcase that he carries around. Yes.
And one costume, and all.
No, it's more than one, but they're very similar. I know, I had the same note, but apparently that's how it was constructed. We wanted to have a different color palette for the West and the East, so it was very obvious. We wanted to have the East pretty much represented by gray or browner kind of tones, and then the West would pop more with colors. So that's why Sorin's, Julian Postelnico's the costumes were also pretty similar, samey, etc. So that was a choice, an artistic choice by Sosha, and she's If you look at the scarf that he picks out in the store, that's her design. She jotted her name down on the thing. That's yeah. So yeah, she's very, very skilled, and she's an up and coming designer, as well as our production designer Zsofi, also Hungarian. They're both in their early 30s, and they are, I mean, they literally held up the thing with like spit and sticky tape. It was incredible. I mean, they literally just kind of went to war for us. It was just insane. I mean, the degree of the degree of the devotion to a project was just incredible.
Production designers are like that usually.
Yeah.
More questions?
Yeah, I have a question. First of all, congratulations. It's not an easy project, and you pulled it off beautifully. I have a question about the writing process. So how long did you took to write it, from concept to the finished script? How many rewrites did you have, and what percentage of that process was research? Because there's a lot of specific details that were really coming true. Thanks so much.
Yeah, it's a bit difficult to talk in percentages right now, but I can give you like an idea. The writing process was pretty much like this. Kirsten and I debated the outline a lot. And then once we had the outline, which was 1, 2, 3, 4 until the number of scenes, then we divided in two, and each one wrote half of it. And then we exchanged the writing, so she sent me what she wrote, I sent her what I wrote. And then we came back with comments. And sometimes, it was easy, sometimes it was more difficult. So that was basically the writing process. And then when we were comfortable with it, we submitted it to the HBO, of course, to Anina and to Jonathan. And then, of course, they came back to us with notes and comments and questions and stuff like usual, nothing. And the research was a lot, in a way, in the sense that there are many, many details that we always had to pay attention to. And besides going to the cineaști, and I've read a few books, that helped. I talked to people who knew things from, behind the doors. My background in journalism, in a way, helped me, because in my previous life, how Americans like to call it, I had the chance to meet people working in the intelligence world. So I kind of got a feeling of how they react, how they talk, how they, it's layer after layer after layer. They never express emotions, they never smile, they smile with the mouth, not with the eyes, and all those little details that you grab along the way. So, yeah, I hope I answered your question.
And also, it was just literally like one of our shortest development processes ever. I mean, it usually takes more like, Rooks took 6 years to come from script to screen. This took 3. I mean, 2 actually, 2 development and then one of actually shooting and post-production.
Yeah, actually,
so, all in all, come together. Literally in 2020, we started this process pretty much around this time. It was right exactly 4. Under the guidance of the...
It's a short time for a feature film, even.
Yeah, it was incredible. I mean, working with these two,
Yeah, it was a roller coaster, I have to say. I mean, I really went day and night, went to bed with all our characters in mind, and then come back in the morning and said, oh, okay, here I go again. So yeah, in 2 years we wrote it, and here we are.
We only really had 2 big notes, I think. One was, yes. The first one was the scripts ended up, I checked today actually, 67 pages. What we end up on screen is about 42. pages. So we had to do a bit of an edit. And one of the things we had when it comes to flashbacks was the flashbacks, because they went all over the place, if you remember.
Yes.
We went back to Russia and all sorts, but we focused the timeline, and I hope everybody watches to the end of it too, because the great thing about the structure that Adina and Kirsten came up with is that the flashbacks meet up with the present timeline. So from episode 3 onwards, we're not in the flashback world. And the second big note was when we got to the end, it was a little bit closer to the Pacheco story, and episode 6 took place in the States. We realized that that wasn't going to deliver a big Ep 6. So from about Ep 4 onwards, there's another strand that you more or less came up with.
But don't spoil it.
I won't, but I'm just going to say another strand, and it gets pretty exciting in episode 6.
I got one more production question, but it's the last one, I swear. Since it looks so convincing, the look of the past, Germany and Bucharest, how much was clever location scouting and set design, and how much was digital matte painting and VFX?
It's mostly not digital. The digital enhancement, obviously when they go to the DIE, we shot it in Hungary, we stuck the Intercontinental, what was the Intercontinental, in the back of shot, so it has a sort of iconic Bucharest landmark, but it's not Bucharest. But most of it is just cleanups. You know, it's CCTV, it's discs and stuff like that. Very little major CGI, but about 80 or 90 CGI shots in each episode. So if you did like the Banassa Airport, if you actually go there, you'll totally recognize it, but there's a few things that you'll go, hang on a minute, that wasn't in the show. If it wasn't, we have to get rid of it.
Wood paneling goes a long way to create the 70s atmosphere. Any other questions? Sorry?
What were the questions of the director to the scriptwriters? Because he's in English, he does not know very well Romania of the 70s, he does not well know Romania. How old is he? How old
Around
is he?
5, around 50s.
So he does not know, he didn't know. So he had to ask. Did he ask?
Yeah, we had a few talks. Yeah, he was, you know, because everything went on so fast, moved so fast, so we didn't sit, you know, in writer's room and stuff and discuss it like in details, but we met a few times, and then he asked me precisely about that time, and Ceausescu and Elena and the world from 78 and Pacheco. I don't recall now, to be honest, exactly what we talked, but we talked about the script and about the world and about Romania in those times. And then he was very nice. He was calling, you know, from the set and said, "Hey, we found a location. I think this is better. What do you think?"
It was like, oh, I thought it's really cool. It's like an orchestra room. Can you write us a scene about someone putting up a bug in one of these rooms, because it's so great. We need to shoot here. It was like phone calls like that from the set to the writers all the time. But yeah, he was very excited to work on it. Very excited, and he knew about Ceausescu. Everybody apparently in the Western world actually knew about how he died. Obviously, that's just such a, and he remembered being knowing about it and just kind of sticking with him, like that whole picture of how it happened. So he really wanted to delve deep into what happened exactly and everything. Yeah, so he was very interested in Ceausescu, and he was talking to you and Claudio about making the characters come alive. And I know that he was referencing Churchill a lot, because the Churchillian kind of character that is so big and so major that you can't change what people know about him, but you can do like the Gary Oldman Churchill. You can put your print on him, and that's what he was endeavoring for you guys to do. And I remember you talking to him about the Ceausescu themselves, which were one of the few historical characters that we have. So basically the Ceausescus and everybody else is pretty much inspired and fictional, a lot of fictional characters, but these two needed to ring true in a way.
It's very risky to have such a character who's very, very well known. Everybody thinks they know how he looked and how he talked. and it's very risky to say this is him, like not somebody with a different name or inspired by. Yeah, it's a big risk.
The main character lives in a privileged world, yeah, and so of course you stay with him and you see, you know, he was super rich, he had everything that one can possibly have in 78 Romania, okay? So that, but then we created scenes and characters to, you know, to show the other side of Romania that you don't actually see through his eyes so much. But you know, I'm not gonna spoil anything. I'm very carefully choosing my words here, but just so you know.
Episode 2.
You can always watch this together with Tales from the Golden Age. Okay. Any other questions? Yeah.
Hi. So I was wondering, when you wrote the script, I'm talking about the fictional characters. Did you have them in mind, and are they very different from the actors that portray them? So, for example, Postelnicu, he was very fit for the role, and I was wondering if you wrote the script thinking about some actors, or you just, I don't know.
Yeah, well, initially when we did the competition, the CinemaScope competition, write a screenplay for, there were two different actors, right? It was not, and then I don't know when, at some point down the road, we were told that it's going to be a younger actor than, you know, we imagined him at that time, due to the write a screenplay for competition, around 50. So then we changed the character, and the daughter initially was like 20 something. Now then it was 16. With Julian, yes and no. I think he brought to the character more than we wrote on the paper. As you did as well. Fantastic, great job. And all the other actors brought something personal to the story and more than we wrote it, and we are definitely grateful for that. They did an amazing job. And with Julian, because you mentioned him, yes, he brought that kind of, it was a little bit of innocence, of genuine type of a man who just wanted to have a good job, just wanted to, you know, make it somehow. And that was there in a way on the page, but then what you saw, it's him and his talent. And I have to give him credit for that.
Yeah, Chris really could see. I mean, he was working with Domnica for quite a bit. He was and Domnica was presenting everybody. Obviously, you know, she's the one that does the filtering. That's her biggest, her talent, her skill. And Chris was like just enamored by some people. Literally came into the room, and that it was like, yeah, he has no idea, you know, about Romanian actors or whatever. He only knew Alec, obviously, from his God's Own Country role, and he wanted him for sure. But everybody else just fell in love with on the day, and that was it. And that was, it's got a nose for it. That's I think Chris.
Because we didn't have we had like 4 months prep. We had Chris was finishing a show. We started shooting 1st of June, and Chris was finishing an edit January, February, so it wasn't really available to us full-time until March. So we had March, April, May. We were casting in Romania, we were casting in Germany, we were casting Brits for Americans, we needed a genuine American for Frank, we were casting Hungarians who could both speak German and Romanian. So we had, I think there were 3 or 4 casting directors, obviously Dominica in Romania was key, but it was a complex process, and thankfully Chris is just utterly instinctive as a director. He just meets someone with a couple of moments, said, yep, you know. And he also trusted us, because there were 1 or 2 people we had to bring in at very short notice. It was COVID, so occasionally people didn't turn up on the day, and you had to go, I know someone. That did happen.
Yeah, but to do justice to the question and to reality, yes, they nailed it. I mean, I can tell that. They nailed it, every single character. I mean, that's fantastic. Dominica, Chris, everybody. I mean, I don't feel like a character is like, you know, not exactly. We didn't have anybody specific in mind, but they nailed it. So it's great to see that.